The countdown to Liberation Day has started. Hello again. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Numbers Matter Shorts. Unless something happens that changes the plans, April 2nd is the day in which the sweeping tariff policy of President Trump is scheduled to go into effect. And the entire world is sitting on the edge of their seats waiting to see what happens. That's not much of an exaggeration. And I think that probably pleases President Trump very much to know that he has all of the spotlight at this moment focused on him. A lot of data being bandied about, and a lot of reports, a lot of discussion and analysis. But to be honest, until this happens, nobody really knows what's going to happen. This has never happened before. Nobody in my profession or really in any other profession can say with any certitude, with any credibility, what's going to happen. We just know that on April 2nd, a sweeping array of tariffs is going to go into effect in the American marketplace. So what's going to happen? We have to wait and see on that. What has been happening, still important, still relevant. So I'm going to look at that, review some of that. Up until now, so far, 2025, the economic data, good, not great. The recent February numbers, if you look at the employment numbers, pretty good. The inflation number, maybe not as good as we hoped, but or somebody hoped, but not scary either. So in the range of okay. Retail sales, a little bit lower than forecast. Headline industrial production and housing starts, a little bit higher than forecast. Now, none of these numbers are really jumping off the page as being outstanding or something to really write home about. What I will look at now more closely is the industrial production for the plastics industry. And the plastics industry has been underperforming the economy, underperforming the industrial production data. And this last month, and really for the year to date, it's no different. For the year to date, output of plastics products down about 3% when compared to the same period, which is January and February of a year ago. So through the first 2 months, already down 3%. Last year, for the whole year of 2024, output of plastics products down 1% when compared to 2023. So still trending downward. We have not hit a cyclical bottom yet. The next data point is just as likely to be worse or down as it is to be up. There were some revisions to about 6 months of the data, 5 or 6 months of the data in this latest report, and most of those revisions were negative. They were actually revised down. So data can get revised up, data can get revised down, but right now the plastics output numbers, not terrific. So what's that going to mean going forward? Again, I don't know for sure. I don't think anybody knows for sure. But I think it's important that we get a baseline. Here's where we are. January, February, we'll get another number for March after the tariffs get enacted. But we'll know where we were in the economy, in the industry before the tariffs got enacted. And then we just have to wait and see how the data comes in afterwards. Two big things about this program or this policy change to keep in mind. Number one, does it get enacted? Does it, and if it does it get sustained for a long period of time? This may be an on again, off again situation. There have been a couple of head fakes, if you will, suggesting that it could be postponed or even canceled outright. That's the problem with policy. I don't like policy. I like market-based decisions. I've said that many times. This is not a market-based decision. This is a politically based decision. Now, I am sympathetic with the impulse of bringing down the trade deficit. I am sympathetic with the impulse to bring down the federal budget deficit. I'm sympathetic with the impulse to lower the national debt. All of those things need to happen. Is this the way to get it done? Well, I have not seen a credible solution yet. This is the first solution that looks like it's hitting it head on. May cause more pain than it's worth. The cure may be worse than the disease in this case, but I can't say that for sure. I have to wait and see. There's no economic argument supporting this approach to deficit reduction, but there's no evidence to suggest yet that it won't work either. It all depends on how the market responds. How do consumers respond? How do our global trade partners around the world respond? There's a lot of votes yet to be cast about how this works out. And can the president sustain it long enough to achieve his ultimate goals? That's another situation, because the electorate has a reputation around here of having a very short attention span. So the only thing we can do is stay tuned. We'll have a lot of stuff to talk about, I expect, in coming months. And so I look forward to getting back to that. But for the time being, just have a look. see what's going on, look back at history, see where we've been, how we feeling, and wait until April 2nd. And let me know if you feel liberated then or not. Thanks for joining me, and we'll be back in a few weeks.